we're in Book 9, page 305. Satan, in the form of the serpent, has now gotten Eve to go with him to the tree, and he's now trying to convince her to eat of it. He's already part of the way there because he's got Eve by herself, and she's now standing in front of the tree. She's looking at it, she can smell it, so he's really doing quite well. He's maybe even ahead of schedule. Line 664. She scarce had said, though brief, when now more bold the tempter, but with show of zeal and love to man, and indignation at his wrong, new part puts on. So he's playing a role like an actor. He's going to use a lot of torturous, confusing logic to confuse her, but the main way that he really wins her over is through the imagination. And again, fiction in the arts, these are things that work upon the imagination. The imagination takes what is, what appears to our senses in our understanding, and then it can create them. The arts are creative in this sense. And Milton is possibly even undermining, or at the very least, highlighting the danger of imaginative works of art. Because he's going to get Eve to think beyond what she's been given and to think about what might be or what should be, right? What is contrary to nature or God's will. And to passion moved, fluctuates, disturbed, yet comely in an act raised as of some great matter to begin. And then he's described as like Cicero or a great Roman orator. And then the great Satan who refused to bend the knee to God, he then prays to the vegetable, right? O sacred, wise, and wisdom-giving plant, mother of science, now I feel thy power within me clear, not only to discern things and their causes, but to trace the ways of highest agents, deemed, however wise. Notice no mention of the cause, God who is the origin of all life and all being. And then he's also kind of denigrating these higher agents, like however wise they claim to be. Then he calls her queen of the universe, which is going a bit far. She is a goddess of Eden. She is the beauty of earth and Adam's beauty personified. So in that sense, maybe goddess isn't too much of a stretch, but of the universe, no. But notice universe, the root uno, it means one. He's getting her separated from Adam, thinking on her own terms, thinking about herself, and universe means turning around one thing. This is what he's trying to do to Eve. Do not believe those rigid threats of death. Ye shall not die. Notice all these questions here. So Socratic questioning, it's a very valid, very useful way of coming to new knowledge, is asking right questions. But in Milton's universe, this world where man is constantly warned by Raphael not to desire knowledge beyond boundaries, questions are ways to get beyond what is known already. And we saw a dangerous indication of that in Eve's earlier disagreement with Adam, earlier in Book 9, when she asked these questions where, well, if we can't do whatever we want, how are we free? Well, if I need you to protect me at all times, how is this paradise? So those are dangerous questions that are showing that she has moved beyond satisfaction with the place that God has placed her in, and she is thinking imaginatively, right, about a different way things might be. So pay attention to all these questions that Satan asks one after another and just leaves her kind of in a muddle. If she was to stop and argue like these questions like point by point, she might actually take him because she is unfallen. She is actually very wise, not as wise as Adam, but Satan is far older and far wiser than the two of them. How should ye? By the fruit? It gives you life to knowledge. Notice it literally gives death, but he's saying life to knowledge. But what does that mean? Life to knowledge means maybe death to God, right? It's by linking those two things together that he can say a truth that means the opposite of the way it's received. By the threatener, by that God, the judge. Look on me who have touched it and tasted, yet both live. In life more perfect have attained than fate meant me. Notice he uses the word fate. He doesn't want her to think about God, that personal God that has walked in the garden and that she feels a personal loyalty to. He uses this sanitized, neutral term, fate. And then also, moving beyond boundaries meant me by venturing higher than my lot. So look it, I was bold enough, and look it. Before I was just a dumb snake doing nothing but eating grass, and now look at me. I'm carrying on conversations about the meaning of life, man. Shall that be shut to man, which to the beast is open? Here, Satan is actually using a similar form of argument that Raphael uses. When Raphael is counseling Adam against overvaluing his sexual relationship, Raphael says, remember, even the animals do this. So don't think too highly of your sexual appetite. Satan is doing something similar. He's saying, look, I'm just a dumb beast. If I can do it, you should do it. So notice the serpent is counseling equality. Like, who do those gods think they are? They're way up there. You should be equal with them. But he's also here appealing to hierarchy and saying, I'm just a little beast. If I can do this, you should be able to because you're higher than me. Or will God incense his ire for such a petty trespass and not praise rather your dauntless virtue, whom the pain of death denounced, whatever thing death be, deterred not from achieving what might lead to happier life, knowledge of good and evil? I'm going to stop here and just point out, God's going to praise you for being bold enough to step over the boundary of death and grabbing this great boon for yourself and Adam and your offspring. So he's making her think in terms of like a tragic heroine. Like, I am a selfless person. I'm gonna dare to do this, pluck this gift from the gods and take it for the human race, like a female Prometheus, right? And then again, happier life. Earlier in the book, Adam and Eve are constantly gushing about how happy they are, how easy the work is, how much space and freedom they have. But ever since Satan intervenes, they're thinking in terms of the comparative. Well, maybe things are nice here, but they could be better. Okay, I'm going to stop and make another video just so they don't take too long to upload.